Good evening everyone and welcome to the Cumbre Sports Facility in Port Kennedy for round 10 of the Men's Supa-Liga. Tonight we have a classic match coming up. Top of the ladder, Rockingham Cambio Cumbre taking on third placed West Coast Cobras. These sides have clashed in 2 grand finals and a quarter final across the past 4 seasons. Famously in Cumbre's first ever Supa-Liga season, they overcame the West Coast Cobras in a penalty shootout in the grand final, and more recently defeating the Cobras 5-2 in the most recent Summer League Grand Final. Last time these two teams were here in Port Kennedy, Rockingham Cambio Cumbre also managed to get the Chocolates 5-1, but the Cobras did bounce back at Perth Mod. So both of these teams had some good wins against each other in recent years, and first versus third definitely promises to be a very exciting clash. And they've built up a bit of a rivalry over these past few seasons. As we move through the starting lineups, or the lineups for this evening, Rockingham Cambio Cumbre have Christian Rosano lining up in goal, lining up at number 33, Tyler Garner number 2, Will Hayes 8, Justin Tang number 9, Connor Cruz number 6, Charlie Garner number 5, Karim Youssef number 10, Rain Blauberg 78, Reed Thompson 99, and lining up for his debut for Cambio Cumbre, coming up against his former team, Luke Christie, number 21. It's for his first game of the season, after serving that suspension that ruled him out for the opening of the season. As we now move to the West Coast Cobras, have Jaden Ashmore, 99, lining up in goals to start. Thomas Robles, number 1, Lachlan Ryan, 34, Jake Pizzuto, number 4, Dexter Hard, 28, Flynn Nolan, 34, Luke Ross, 9, Zephyr McPherson, 12, Marco Florenka, 8, Joshua DeCane, 31, Clay Burnite, 37, and Brock Newton, number 3, rounding up both sides for the evening as we're about to get underway. Such an exciting clash, so many storylines leading up into this game in what promises to be a thrilling affair as Justin Tang looks to get us started here for the evening for Cumbre. Just a slight hold up as we're about to get underway. Cumbre have Tang, Garnham, Garner and Hayes lined up to start, as Garnham now finds Hayes, out to Garner. Good ball through, but Pizzuto just cuts that off. Hayes was waiting, and Hayes will now bring it in from the sideline. Hard, Pizzuto, Ryan and Ross starting for the Cobras, as now Tang, Garner can't get that one through. Hard loses it, but Ross onto it. Garner wins it. He's got Garnham. He'll take a shot, and saved by Ashmore. And Ashmore will clean that up. Last time Jaden Ashmore was at this centre, he saved a 10-metre penalty against South Perth to prevent them from losing that game. So he's got good memories here. And the calls for the second touch are received well for Cumbre. Referee Gab calling that an opportunity here now for Cumbre to get the opening goal of the evening. Always such an intense affair between these two clubs, and expect nothing less here tonight. And Tyler Garner looks to take this with the Cobras set up defensively, looking fairly strong. What can Cumbre draw up here? They're normally so good from these set pieces. Garnham to his right, Tang to his left. Uses Garnham into Tang, and Cobra strong defensively, and Hard will clear. Dexter Hard been in phenomenal form over these past, really the whole season. Scored a number of goals and had a huge influence on games. Garner tried to find Garnham, and Luke Ross will happily let that roll straight now into the possession of Jaden Ashmore. Here's a long throw. Lockie Ryan controls it well, but Garner there wins it. Hayes now through the middle, out to Garnham. Garnham all the way back to Garner. Defended tightly by Hard. Hayes, Tang, and Garner goes down, and the foul will be called on Hard. Ross not happy with that call. Hayes out wide to Garner, and you see the press by the Cobras winning possession now. They did that very well when they played It might not be possession, but they did that very well, the Cobras, when they did play Cumbre at Perth Mod about a season ago and managed to get a 3-1 victory. And that will be possession for the Cobras. Dexter Hard will take. Go all the way back to Pizzuto. Out to Hard. And I think he was hoping for the run there by Pizzuto. And in the end, cut Ryan and Pizzuto in half. And Cumbre will take it back. Here's Garner. Steadily moves it forward to Hayes. Now wide to Tang as the Cobras push that press higher. Garner through to Garnham. Ross might win it here, he doesn't. Garnham does well. Good ball by Garner, but Ashmore gets there and clears that fairly comfortably in the end. Dexter Hard and Tyler Garner, the two representatives of the round 19 of the week, playing here tonight. They're both on court at the moment. Here is Tang out wide to Hayes, and that's not going to stay in. Possession won by the Cobras, and it'll be taken by Pizzuto from the sideline. Back to Ross. Ross to Hard. Takes Tang down the line, does well. Tries to cut it in board. Ryan's there, almost. And good save on the goal line by Cumbre was needed to be made, and it was made by Christian Rosano. But now Hard. Good ball into Ryan and almost found that bottom left corner. But the Cobras threatening early, and that's what they want to start off strong. The last time they did play Cumbre here, they did go down quite early in the game by about 3 or 4 goals, and they can never really get back into it, especially against a side like Cumbre. Here's Garner, 1-on-1 with Pizzuto, and got through Pizzuto, but almost found that left corner, but just wide. And both teams coming out aggressively, and a few opportunities early for both. As Marco Florenka comes on, Pizzuto goes to McPherson. McPherson goes down. Now Garner, no foul called, and Ross will clear. But no foul called there as McPherson hit the ground. Bit of discussion there with the referee from both Ross and Garner. Here's Garner. Takes his time now, takes on Florenka, but Florenka gets back strongly. Now Garner resets to Tang. Tang out wide, Hayes. And once again, can't get it down the line. Pizzuto on the defense, and Ross will take. No substitutions made yet for Cumbre. Just the two in fact, for the Cobras, and that ball was lost by Pizzuto, and Tang will bring it back into play. Charlie Garnham, the leading goal scorer so far this season for Cumbre. Just behind him, Justin Tang and Will Hayes on 8 goals, trailing him on 9. For the Cobras, it's Dexter Hard with 11 goals on the season, currently 3rd, or equal 2nd in fact, in the goal standings. And Tyler Garner, as he takes this corner, he is in fact leading the league in assists for the season. Charlie Garnham just behind him as well. Garner out to Tang and just wide right. Nice opportunity there from Cumbre from that corner, but in the end not to be. The Cobras now will look to build. They've got McPherson playing at that target position right now, defended by Garner. Here's Pizzuto. Florenka now goes to McPherson. He'll get there. Loses his footing though. Bit of contact by Garner. McPherson lost it. And now here is Luke Christie for his first minutes for the season, lining up for Cumbre for the first time. Massive signing, such a talented player in this league. As here's Tang, Garnham, just behind Garner though, shot by McPherson and just wide right. But the ball there from Cumbre just behind the intended target, and McPherson almost made them pay. As now Garner out to Tang. Garner, I think that ball might have been intended for Tang. It'll end up with him now. Garner, defended by Florenka. Garnham and Pizzuto now. Now the two defenders get there, and Florenka wins it for the Cobras. Pizzuto, good ball through to McPherson. Ross, can he get that one through to Pizzuto? He can. Now a good ball through to McPherson and they'll reset the Cobras. Ross now cuts it through the middle. Pizzuto might have to clear that. And might end up with McPherson, and McPherson just hammers it into the crowd. There's a pretty good attendance here tonight at Port Kennedy. Good to see a lot of members in the crowd for what is obviously a big clash in the context of the season. First versus third, as I mentioned earlier. And Cumbre can really solidify that top spot on the ladder if they do win tonight. And the Cobras could put pressure on them as Connor Cruz now comes on. Here is Garner. Takes his time. McPherson jumps and Cruz loses it. And the Cobras win possession. As a substitution will be made, it'll be Flynn Nolan in his first game in a few weeks, coming on for the Cobras, replacing Ross. Looks like the Cobras are definitely trying to play that target quite deep. And they're doing that with Ryan and they're doing it with McPherson. Right now it's McPherson. Here's Florenka dangerously going all the way back. Cruz putting pressure on. Now it's lost. Here's Christie. And Luke Christie almost. What a moment that would have been for him against one of his former clubs to get a goal so early in his return. Here's Pizzuto. This is going to be lost by Nolan. Cruz, Christie again with a chance. Goes all the way, but big save there. Big tackle by Florenka, who runs over it. Ends up with it, and Pizzuto's not going to reach. And Christie now will bring it back into play, but a few big moments there. Some turnovers by Cobras in a dangerous position, but Cumbre couldn't make the most of the opportunities. Here's Tang out to Garner. Garner always so threatening. McPherson here, one-on-one with him. Garner will return the ball to Tang. Good ball through, and that's going to, in the end up with Ashmore. A little touch on it by Nolan. Pizzuto. That's dangerous. Lost by Florenka, and Florenka with a big block, stopping that opportunity from Justin Tang. They have so many weapons, do Cumbre. So it's kind of pick your poison. You've got to figure out which ones you want to stop. And here is Garner. There's the block on the wall by Pizzuto. Going to be brought back in now. Garner has Tang waiting this time, and they might have another shot. And they do almost try to find the back post there, I think. Now Christie. Hard back on. And that's great defense by Hard. Cleared by Rosano. It might have been a bit of a shot. The Cobras now will reset and try and build. Here's Pizzuto. Nice little back roll to Ross. That one doesn't get through to Nolan. Great work there by Cruz. And they'll reset Cumbre. Here is Garner. Out to Christie. Garner now. Almost a run there by Tang. Tang comes back though. Ross on the defense. Christie. Nolan. Christie back to, sorry, not Nolan, that was Cruz. Now Cruz, defended by Pizzuto. And Cumbre taking their time here. That's dangerous though by Christie. Pizzuto pounces. Here's Nolan back to Pizzuto. And big save by Rosano. What a chance there. The turnover by Christie almost proving costly, and the Cobras almost got that first goal of the evening. But well done, Christian Rosano, on that save. Nolan, back roll, no one there. Pizzuto now chasing Garner. Garner still going. And he will lose it in the end. Big win there by Pizzuto, defending Tyler Garner on that run. It's now Ross. Long high ball, now to Hard. Hard on the right! And it might go in! It does! And the Cobras lead! Dexter Hard puts the Cobras in front early. As we get that replay up, it was a big save by Rosano, and the high bounce just managed to get in, but the Cobras take the lead early here at Port Kennedy, and that's their start they were after. Couple big chances for Cumbre go begging, and Cumbre now will look to bounce back soon and not let the Cobras get that 2-goal lead, which would be so crucial for the Cobras. And now Tyler Garner comes off for his first rest of the game. On comes Thompson. Now Christie. Here is Connor Cruz. Good ball by Hayes. Christie. Florenka pressuring. Christie thought about the shot. Hayes in to a dangerous spot, and Ashmore there. Here's Pizzuto now. And that's probably not the worst result for the Cobras, just behind Ross. But it was lurking dangerously. Here is Cruz to take it from the sideline, the ball to the back post, and nobody there. Thompson was in the vicinity, but wasn't found. Ashmore, good ball to Ryan. Ryan controls it well, but now loses it. Thompson, he does have 3 defenders in between him and the goals, and the defenders do win. That of the Cobras, as Joshua DeCane for his first minutes of the game is on for the Cobras. Lost there by Ryan. Well done, Will Hayes. Brilliantly done in defence. Christie, Cruz. Thompson leaves for Hayes. Now Thompson receives. But big by Florenka. Now Ryan decides against taking off on the counter. Resets. He'll end up with it now. Ryan, he might have a shot. And he does. But across the face of goals as Pizzuto off for his first rest of the game. That let DeCane and Ross return to the court. Here is Ashmore. Take their time here. Good ball there from Ross, but almost or just lost in the end by Ryan. Recovers Florenka, DeCane. Florenka tries to take Hayes down the line. Hayes as well. Staying in the ball somehow on that far flank. Good ball through. Here's Garnham and DeCane. Huge defensively getting back. Now Ryan loses it again, and once again, the foul will be called there on Ryan. But once again, Cumbre are getting back on Lachlan Ryan so strongly in defence and not allowing him to get that purchase on the shot. Here's Hayes. Garnham thought about Hayes. He'll get it back here from Cruz, and now Cruz again. Thompson defended by Florenka. He's been good, Florenka. And the foul will be called on Florenka. And that will be 3 fouls early for the Cobras, which is not what they wanted. Probably wasn't a necessary foul. Didn't need to make that push off on that far flank. It might in fact be 2 fouls for the Cobras. Here's Ross. Wins it, goes down. And it was Thompson who will get called for the foul, and that will be a yellow. So the yellow is given to Cumbre, and the Cumbre fans up here are not happy with that one. It did look like, though, Ross was out, and a bit of a professional foul by Thompson. As here's Ross with a long shot, and that was threatening. Looked like there was a touch on it, and it will be a Cobras corner. But Luke Ross always has that ability to threaten from deep. Got so much power on that shot, and that one wasn't far off. And now it'll be brought back in here by Florenka. Florenka, Ross, and that's dangerous again. And that one off Thompson. The Cobras will have possession again. It will be Florenka. Florenka, long ball, but no one there. And Cumbre take possession. As Pizzuto on for Florenka. For the Cobras. Tang on as well now for Cumbre. Here's Thompson. Garnham tried to turn. Chose against it. Hayes. Thompson, and that ball way over the head of Garnham. And it'll be Cobras again taking possession. Ryan off, McPherson on, back to that target position. Tang there in defence. Here's Pizzuto, high press from Cumbre. Ross, good defence by Reed. Thompson wins it and wins a side ball for Cumbre. And Hayes will bring it in. Not often that Cumbre do go down early. They're so well drilled, and they will not panic. They'll reset and try and make sure they can get their next goal and get back into the game. No, they're not in it now. They're absolutely in it now. On comes Nolan. Ross Back roll to Pizzuto. Pizzuto back to Ross. The pressure's lurking from Cumbre. And in the end, ball goes out off of Cumbre. And it looks like no foul called. Ross wasn't happy, nor was Hayes. In fact, the foul was called, and that's why Hayes was not impressed. And that's the second foul for Cumbre, 3 fouls for the Cobras. McPherson with a chance here, and big opportunity, but McPherson did well there, but the defense was up to the task for Cumbre. Pizzuto now brings it back in from the corner. Here's Ross again, and this almost somehow avoids the goals. The touch there from Nolan, and in the end, Cumbre survived that. Now Pizzuto. Tried to get it through to Ross, and Thompson now on the counter, takes off. So the Cobras get back defensively. Thompson, Tang, Garnham to Hayes. Hayes now can't get past McPherson. Now Tang in the middle of the court. Out wide right to Hayes, back to Tang. Well controlled by Charlie Garnham, but the defense gets in on him. And that was Pizzuto that time, defensively clearing. And a fairly even game to start off here. Cumbre, you'd think, have had more possession in this game. As there's a chance for Christie in the block there, but Cumbre have definitely had more possession in this one. The Cobras managed to score that chance on the counter. But Cumbre, very rare they'll lose the possession or the passing game against any opponent. Normally the Cobras are so good at that, but Cumbre, such high quality as well. Here's Tang, big block by the Cobras. Ross, and in the end cleared by Christie, but he didn't need to do it because it was going to be a Cumbre ball. So Nolan now to bring it in. Pizzuto, and they're under a lot of pressure, the Cobras, and there's the turnover. And that will be off of McPherson. Christie. Garnham. Out wide to Garner. Tang. Now Garner again. Tang loses it. Tried to find Garnham, but Nolan almost pounced. That ball again across the face. Here's Christie. Garner. Pressure by Nolan. Has the run from Garnham, uses the outlet though to Tang, who goes along to Garnham, but that'll be cleared very comfortably by Ashmore. And there's the rolling foul that will be called, I believe, on the Cobras. And in fact, if that is, that will be a 4th foul for them. There it is. So that's not what the Cobras want. Just over halfway through this first half. 9 minutes, 40 seconds go in the first half. And 4 fouls for the Cobras. They often do find themselves in foul trouble. And that's well done by Nolan, stopping the Christie run. Nice little cut outside, and now inside by Florenka, still going. And cleared by Tang, but a great run by Florenka there, almost finding Nolan to his outside left. Nice couple moves, back and forth. Here's Pizzuto. And Florenka goes long to hard. Garner there. Garnham's 1-on-1 and wide left and high. You don't see Garnham sky balls like that very often, especially from that position. But the Cobras will breathe a sigh of relief on that occasion. As now Nolan. Out wide, Pizzuto. Good ball to hard. It's 1-on-1 with Garner. Shot. And that one was high. But they'll be happy with that. The Cobras getting so much space there for hard. There's now Cumbre through Rosano. Long ball and left in the end. I don't know if it was intentional, but not a bad result there for the Cobras. Nolan didn't get anything onto it, and the Cobras will take now through Ashmore. Nolan, Florenka. Nolan and Florenka combine again. Now Pizzuto cutting across dangerously, and no one there, but the clearance will now be taken from Cumbre. The Cobras won't be too disappointed, I was about to say, with that result. So now Christie. Garner. Calling for Tang to move. As Rosano plays a bit of that fly keeper. That's defended. Cleared by Hard in the end, and Cumbre now in a threatening position. Can they trouble the scorers here on this occasion with this opportunity and equalise. Garnham out to Tang. Garner, defence by Pizzuto. Florenka, Nolan, that's dangerous. Here's a chance for Cumbre again. Nice control. Beautiful footwork by Tang. Lost in the end, but they'll keep the ball. Garner, now lots of space for Cumbre. Here's trouble, and big block there by Florenka as Cumbre will take. But Cumbre are ever pressing in this game. Really threatening the Cobras, and the Cobras defence so far has held strong. And there's Christie out wide, or all the way back in fact to Garner. Garner might have turned it over, he has. Pizzuto though loses it, and Garnham wide left. Big chance for Cumbre though. And that will be the first time out of the game. It'll be called by the West Coast Cobras, who will go into this timeout with a 1-goal lead. Don't go anywhere, we'll be back with you in just a minute. They won't be taking. Sasakuma, long ball, Vickery's all alone to seal the game. Emmanuel!
Oh my God!
What a finish! Chance hard on the left. And my goodness, wouldn't that have been a finish? Almost down the top. Gee. And welcome back here as we resume from the timeout here at Port Kennedy Cumbre Sports Facility. Both teams just huddling, working out strategy for the next period of this game. We just go through the results from last night's futsal. In a bit of a stunning result, Phoenix beat Longobarda 8-2, and they are starting to make a real push towards finals. Phoenix and Longobarda really falling away over these last 3 to 4 weeks. They have been unlucky in a couple of them though. And Sterling Braza finding some momentum, beating the Condors, who have been struggling of late. 7-2, so they'll be very happy with that. Will Braza. Now we get back into this one here. Ryan back on, out to hard. Florenka, long ball, no one there. Rosano rolls it to Garner. Now out wide to Cruz, who's on. We just come on, in fact. Good ball. Garnham defended tightly though by Hard. Garnham still going. Out to Christie, into Garnham. And they're slowly pushing this defence back, Cumbre, with every pass. And you can see they don't panic. They move the ball so well, so consistently. Garnham almost loses his footing though, and has to retreat to Garner. That ball's wide to Cruz, who just manages to keep it in. Defended by Luke Ross. And Garnham, that will be off him and just stays in. Now Florenka on the counter, has some defenders though to deal with. Gets a shot off and saved by Rosano very, very comfortably. And Garner now just under 7 minutes remaining on the clock in this first half of futsal. Here's a run, good ball by Christie and Garnham. And Ashmore comes out, as he's done probably about 3 or 4 times in this game, and just cleared it away, running out of his goals, off his line. And now Cruz, Garner, good ball to Garnham. A reset, cross to that far flank to Christie. And you can see the Cobras are really trying to double some of these Cumbre players when they are in the open space, not allow any outlet pass or any opportunity to take off. Here is Tyler Garner. Good ball through, this is dangerous, and Ross clears, but brilliant play by Cumbre, threatening there. It was Cruz almost finding Garnham, say at that back post, but it was more in the middle, but Ross was there. Now Christie uses Garner on that far flank, defended by Florenka. What way will he go right? and he'll reset. Here's Cruz, gets it, and no one at that back post. They needed someone there. But in the end, wide left, Florenka off, on is Pizzuto. Ross, this is dangerous for the Cobras, but they've done well to get out of there. Ryan, Pizzuto, and that's behind Dexter Hard. The Cobras are back on the defense. As Luke Christie, you can tell he's raring to go after missing so much futsal, and he hasn't missed many minutes here tonight. He's been on for the majority of the game, as you would expect. Here's Garner, Christie, back to Garner now. Cruz out wide to Garner, and the Cobras pushing this Cumbre team further and further back, and that's strung by Hard, and this is dangerous, but Christie takes off. Brilliant with his feet, loses it in the end, but great run by Luke Christie, and you can see that's what Cumbre have missed all season, and I'm sure that he's going to have a huge impact at his new club, Christie. Ross finds Ryan, defended by Garner. Ross still now in the corner, and he'll win a corner for the Cobras. And it'll be taken by Pizzuto. And just a bit needed to be cleaned up here on the court on that far right flank by the referee, as we just have a small break, and Pizzuto now will bring it into play. Pizzuto, Ryan, not quite. Deflection there, block, and it will be still a Cobras ball. And Pizzuto will take the corner. Finds Luke Ross. Luke Ross can't get it through. Ross gets a boot on that. Now Hayes, brilliant ball by Hayes, but Pizzuto gets there. Garner was threatening big time, but the Cobras avert that danger, and Ross will have to clear that one. And now Pizzuto overruns it and may have lost it. Now he has. Garner, brilliant move, beats his defender, and Ashmore, though, couldn't be beat. But what a play by Tyler Garner, beating the defense and almost equalizing. As Garner will now take it from the corner. Here's the ball, cleared by Ryan. And Hayes will bring it back in. Just under 5 minutes remaining in this first half here at Cumbre Sports Facility. Here is Cruz. Uses Garner. Pizzuto approaches. Cruz tries to get it through Ross, but couldn't, and it will stay with Cumbre. Thompson now on. Garner, can't beat Pizzuto there. Here's Ross. Big block there by Cruz. Well done, Connor Cruz. Getting his body on the line there and stopping that ball that would have threatened the Cumbre defense. There's Ross, Garner in that block, and he ends up with it here. He thought about Hayes, but the Cobras defense was there, as now Hayes, Pizzuto with a foot in. Pizzuto still defending and now wins it, but can't keep it. Thompson out to Hayes, as now they have space, Cumbre. They've got players running and they'll reset. Cruz back to Garner, back to Tang. Loses it, and Ross, well done. Getting that slide in. He's so strong defensively, Luke Ross. Tang out to Thompson. You see Thompson now defending the newly on for the Cobras, Brock Newton. And that's going to go in and cleared by Ross. But Brock Newton, I believe this might be Newton's first minutes for the Cobras this season. And that's a big shot by Cruz, but what a save by Ryan. That was going in. That would have found that right corner. But it will be good to see what Newton can do for the Cobras. He can have an impact in his first time out there. As now Hayes will bring it in. Can't get it through. Pizzuto threatens to take off, but decides to reset. Long ball by Ross, and that'll be cleaned up by Rosano. Garnham. Tang. Garnham. Now back to Justin Tang. Finds Garnham. He can finish this. But McPherson, I believe it was, getting there. just as it looked like Garner was about to have a shot one-on-one with Ashmore. Nolan under pressure here. Pizzuto out wide, Fullarenka. Back to Pizzuto now. Fullarenka, that's dangerous, and that's going to end up into touch for Cumbre to have a shot here at equalising. Hayes, Tang, and that ball in the end is going to end up with the Cobras. Fullarenka getting there on defence strongly. And Ashmore will bring it back in. So shout out to the player of the round, but here's Nolan, dangerous here. The Cobras, they lose it, and Tang with a shot in the block. But shout out to Muslim Al Muhammad, who's named the player of the round from round 9 of futsal. Made a number of huge saves in that game. And also scored his second goal of the season. And there's a chance. Pizzuto, here's Tang, and big save by Ashmore. Probably didn't get as much on it as he could have or would have liked to, Tang. McPherson can't control that, but probably didn't, yes, like I said, it was a big opportunity, but it was straight at Ashmore and probably not with as much power as he would have been intending on. And here is Justin Tang. Uses Will Hayes. Hayes to Tang, who loses it for a moment, but recovers well. Garnham. Nice little bit of footwork, moving the ball forward for Cumbre, and Pizzuto there stops that ball through to Garnham. And the Cobras still hold that 2-goal lead with just over 2 minutes to go in this first half here. And Cumbre will really be looking to equalise, and that might be a Cobras ball, or it would be a Cumbre ball in fact, or it might be a Cobras ball. Looks like it last came off Justin Tang. McPherson did have a touch in there. Maybe a potential handball called. Pizzuto cuts it through the middle. Now does well. Gets it through to McPherson at target, who cuts towards the inside. Nolan loses it. Hayes keeps it in. Through Nolan's legs. Hayes still going. Foul will be called. And Hayes not happy. Fullarenka went down. And the Cumbre locals are not happy with that decision. Now 3-4 is the foul count, so Cumbre now pushing the fouls, but with only 1 minute and 40 odd seconds to go, I'm sure they won't be too concerned. The concern was more for the fact that Hayes was out if the foul wasn't called. Nolan uses Pizzuto, long ball. Now Hard is on for McPherson. Here's Hard, who loses it, and Cumbre have a 2-on-1, but Hard gets back. Here's Hayes with a shot, big block by Hard. Now Fullarenka on the counter. He has an option, takes off, and a foul will be called. And Fullarenka has a chance. Hayes called for the foul. A yellow is given. And the West Coast Cobras have an opportunity with 1.5 minutes remaining in this first half to potentially take a 2-goal lead. And in fact, that's 5 fouls for Cumbre. So now with 1.5 minutes to go, I believe when I said 3 fouls before, that score hadn't updated. So that is in fact 5 Cumbre fouls. And the Cobras now have 1.5 minutes to try and draw a foul from Cumbre and get that 10-metre penalty. Hard and Pizzuto discussing. Cumbre setting up strong defensively. Can they thwart off this attack? Here's Hard, and there's the block by Christie. But crisis not avoided just yet for Cumbre, as Fullarenka to take the corner. In fact, it'll be a side ball. And here's Dexter Hard. Gets it back off the Christie block, and another Christie block there. And Nolan leads smartly for the Cobras to take from the sideline. It'll be Hard to take just near the Cumbre bench. And there's Nolan. Almost ended up through to Pizzuto, but this time Garner on the stop. And Pizzuto now. Hard again, this time the shot. No one there, and never really looked likely. And well done by Cumbre, thwarting off a few attacks there from the Cobras in a row. As Rosano to bring it back into play. Here is Karim Youssef on for his first minutes of the game. This is dangerous and hard. In the end, it couldn't be touched there by Ashmore. And it'll be cleared by Pizzuto, but well done by Hard getting through because that ball by Youssef really looked likely for Cumbre. Just under a minute to go in this first half. Garner, Christie, Florenka on the defence. Nice move by Christie, threatening, but comfortable again for Jaden Ashmore. Pizzuto, this is dangerous for the Cobras, but Florenka takes off and does brilliantly, keeps his feet, no foul called, through to Ryan and just out of his reach. So close. And the Cobras were calling for that foul, but there definitely was not much in it earlier on that run by Florenka. But just out of the reach of Lockie Ryan. And Cumbre under a bit of pressure here. But they've done well, and you can see the Cobras not allowing, at the moment, Cumbre to play their possession game. They're putting a lot of pressure, especially with just then Rosano was out of goals. And it'll be brought back in now by the Cobras. Well done winning possession. Okay, what can Cumbre do here? Can they set up strong defensively and maybe look at a counter and still try and equalise before the end of this half? Or can Ross get it through? He can't. Garner was there. And a yellow now given, I believe, to Rain Blauberg. I believe it was Rain Blauberg on the bench, copping the yellow. Something must have been said. And I assume, going by history, that Rain Blauberg will come on for the second half. Seems to be what Cumbre like to do. And he'll play in goals. A long ball by Rosano, no one there. And it'll be Jaden Ashmore. 18 seconds here for the Cobras to have a chance. Bit of a heavy touch there by Ryan, loses it. Christie. Garner turns it over. Here's a chance, but big by Christie. That was a massive opportunity. It would have been Nolan, who does have a really good shot, but Luke Christie pounced on it brilliantly. And now just under 8 seconds remaining. Will Cumbre try and see out this half, or will they try and score? They might just try and run it out. Go in with a 1-goal deficit, or they might have a chance here. They do. It's going to get through. And Garnham tried to find Christie, not to be, and the Cobras will be very happy with that. Cumbre will go to the halftime break looking to work away through the Cobras' defence and trying to equalise and push towards winning this game. But what a first half we've just seen. Don't leave your seats. We'll be back in 3 or 4 minutes with a huge second half.
Futsal WA has social futsal competitions 5 nights a week in Mount Lawley and West Perth. Whether you're an individual or have a group of mates who want to play, there's a junior, men's, women's or mixed competition that will suit you. Contact us to get involved in futsal, an action-packed sport and the fastest growing sport in Australia.
As you see on your screen, the statistics for that first half, as I had mentioned in the passing and possession game, Cumbre do lead and they have control of the movement across that defensive half and through the middle of the court. The shot count is fairly even, 23-18, but the Cobras do take that 1-goal lead into the second half. As we're about to get underway here, it'll be interesting to see what Coach Nesta Fonseca has discussed with Cumbre and his Cumbre team, see if they can get the equalising goal, and also John Goodlich for the Cobras, what they will put together. Two very quality teams, so a bit of a game of chess. Always great to watch teams at this level play with such intensity. As we're about to get underway here back at Port Kennedy. And here we go. Ross out to Florenka. Ross loses it here. Now Hayes, good ball, almost finding Tang. As Florenka has been so good on these runs throughout this game. And that was a great move by Florenka, putting it into a dangerous spot. He's been very hard to win the ball off. Has Marco Florenka. Really great with his feet, as now Cumbre look to build. It's Florenka defending Ghana, and here is Ryan Blauberg, as I had mentioned, now playing for this second half. They have a bit of a half rotation with Blauberg and Rosano. So he'll be fresh coming into the second half, he will. Garnham, one-on-one with Ross. Ross gets the block in there. Garner gets it through, cleared by Lockie Ryan. And Garner straight back onto it. Looks to set up again for Cumbre. Looks to cut in board. Goes back across the defensive half, finding Garnham. Uses Hayes. Tang now. Out wide to Tyler Garner. Can't get that one through, intending to find Garnham, but the Cobras had that one covered. And Ashmore now. They do have Tom Robles sitting on the bench, but it looks like Ashmore will be getting the remainder of this game as the keeper, as now Pizzuto. Florenka and Pizzuto combine. Florenka turns to his left, uses Ross as Hayes pressures. Florenka still, Pizzuto, good ball. Attempted back heel there by Ryan, was ambitious, and it will be taken now by Cumbre. Tang, Garner, Tang. They combine a few times there. Here is Charlie Garnham, defended by Pizzuto. Pizzuto with a block. I think he might have tried to get that one through to Hayes. There did Garnham. As Garner brings us back into play. Big shot there, and might have caught a bit of the woodwork, or at least side netting that attempted shot. But Cumbre get a few early shots away. which I'm sure they'll be pleased with, but they'll be looking to score soon and not allow the Cobras to get a bit of momentum. If they do get their next goal, the Cobras, they will be up and about and hard to chase down. So Cumbre need to make sure they can find a way through Jaden Ashmore to equalise this one. As now Garner uses Garnham out wide, but too wide for Tang. That ball just behind Ross, and Ross ends up clearing it, but Ross wasn't ready for the Florenka ball. It'll be brought back in here by Hayes. And here he goes, all the way back to Garner. Good pressure there by Hard. Hayes runs over it, and Ross is there, wins it. Foul should be called, and it is. And it will be called, and no complaints there from Cumbre, or from Garnham in fact. And the complaints are more so around no yellow being given, and there might be a bit of discussion here on whether or not that is a yellow. That's the first foul of this second half here, and it goes the way of Cumbre. No card given, and the Cobras do win a shot here, or at least an attempted set piece, and they are also themselves quite good at the set pieces. They work very hard on that, on the training grounds. As now Ross with a shot, and wide left, Pizzuto was there. But if that was on target, it would have been a tough one to save because there was a lot behind it. Garner, now Christie. Garner tries to get it through, but just out of the reach of Luke Christie. As Florenka takes off now for the Cobras. He'll reset in fact. Pizzuto, good ball finding Hard. Pizzuto's in the middle. Hard tried to find him, loses it. And Tang resets. Christie couldn't find Garner. It's Pizzuto now for the Cobras. Hesitant a little bit there. Hard. And Garner, if he could have pounced onto that, it would have been a big chance, but frustrated at himself. And Pizzuto moves over to take it for the Cobras. Cumbre so far this season have only had the one loss. Only one game, in fact, that they haven't won. And that was against the Interperth Futsal Club. As Pizzuto tries to get it through to Hard. Christie now loses it. But as I mentioned, it was a 4-1 win for Interperth against Cumbre. And since then, they've just been so on song throughout this season, have Cumbre. Here's Garnham, one-on-one with Pizzuto. Pizzuto with a block. And now Tang. Out to Garner. Defended as Nolan comes in to help there. Hard. Still defending. Good ball by Garner. Led, hang on to it. That's dangerous. And couldn't quite first grab it there. Jaden Ashmore. And it was dangerous because Cumbre, I think it was Charlie Garnham, who almost punished. Here's Tang. Tang with a shot and the big block from the Cobras. And Tang now will bring it in from the corner. And Cumbre have a chance. So whilst they have had a lot of possession and passing, the shot count is fairly even in this game. And obviously the one goal going through was that of Dexter Hard. Tang out wide, can't get it through to Tyler Garner. Hard, in fact, onto that one, just as I had mentioned him. And now he comes off, McPherson on, Ross off, Christie, Florenka now on for the Cobras. Here is Garner. Garnham, and they've done a lot of this, Cumbre, throughout the game, moving that ball with ease in that defensive half. Garnham one-on-one. Florenka dives in and doesn't win possession, but stops that attack. Now there's some space for Tang. One-on-one with Nolan. Nolan stronger defense, and he'll win the ball back for the Cobras. Just over 4 minutes gone in this first half. Here's a chance for Cumbre. Garnham, not quite. Christie controls that brilliantly, pouncing onto it, tries to cut it the opposite direction. Pizzuto there though, and 2 defenders to deal with for Luke Christie on that occasion. Probably cut the wrong direction. Straight into Cobra traffic. As Garner now one-on-one with McPherson, a couple step overs. Garner still going, touch on there by Pizzuto, but Christie ends up with it. Out wide to Garnham. Garnham thought about going to Tang. He still has Tang now, he finds him. Pizzuto defending Christie here. Christie tried to get that back, but doesn't on the ball from Garnham. McPherson now has 3 defenders to deal with, and in the end loses his footing, trying to turn around and go back. But he recovers well there, McPherson, sending that into touch. Here is Garner. Garnham out wide to Christie, pressured by Pizzuto. And he tries to take him on. And in the end, Florenka gets there. And that's what I've been mentioning about the Cobras getting 2 players to the defensive side of the game. And the foul will be called on Cumbre, and I believe that's foul number 2 in only the space of 5 minutes. So they really want to clean that area up and avoid getting into foul trouble again. He's mopping up a bit of wet on the court at the moment as we're about to get back underway with just over 15 minutes remaining in this Saturday evening clash between first on the ladder and third. And it'll be Luke Ross to take. Ross, Nolan, back to Ross. Gets it through, almost to Nolan, does he? Well, he does in the end. Cruz almost had it. Ross takes off. Nice little flick to McPherson. Could have almost gone back to Ross. But they're doing well here, the Cobras. Nolan loses it. So I say they're doing well. They lost it there. I think it was Christie who ended up getting that interception on that tackle. Here's Ross with the interception. Big shot, and he probably did have Nolan out to his left if he had seen him. But worth a shot. And Blauberg will take here for Cumbre. Garner. Given a lot of space here to move forward, and he took it all until he went back to Thompson. Now Cruz pushes Garner forwards well. Garner now, can he get that through? Brilliant ball to Yusuf, but he loses it, and McPherson takes off, and that will go into touch, but a fairly even start to this second half. Both teams with a few opportunities. Garner playing a lot on this broadcast flank throughout this game. And he'll bring this back in now on the far flank. Go through to the target, but McPherson there. One-on-one with Thompson. A bit of physicality there with Hard and Thompson. Long ball, good ball by Ashmore. Ryan was there, heavy on that chest touch though. Yusuf takes off on the counter. He might lose it here, he does. Florenka has Hard. Just didn't go that way. Resets to Ross. And now Florenka again. Gets it through, chance! And almost Lockie Ryan. A save and then the post. And 2-0 for the Cobras. Missed by inches. And Cumbre survive. But a big chance there for the Cobras goes begging. As now Thompson can't beat his defender there, but they've made a substitution now, the Cobras, as you'll see. Just on that defensive tackle there was Clay Burnite, did well to not let his attacker get past him. As now Cruz beats Hard, gets it through, and there's the goal! Karim Yusuf, just as the Cobras so narrowly missed that chance to go up by 2. Yusuf with a tap in, and Cumbre equalise here at Port Kennedy. And how costly will that miss become? Cumbre have had a lot of chances though throughout this game, and that one finally Cumbre converts. And now we have a tied game here. And the intensity, I'm sure, will go up a notch. But it took almost 30 minutes of game time for Cumbre to get that equaliser, or get that first goal. And they will be ecstatic to finally get there. And there's the block by Yusuf, who will be riding a high from that equalising goal. Here is Hard with a big shot and never really looked likely. Way, way high on that attempt. Hayes. Garner, good ball to Hayes. Here's a chance. What a ball. That is to Thompson. Reed Thompson. What a goal by Cumbre. And just like that, 2-1 is the lead, and that is a remarkable finish. One of the goals of the round. Off the volley, Thompson. And there it is, how quickly this game has turned around. And the Cobras lead of what was on the verge of being 2-0. The lead is completely gone, and Cumbre are now in front here. As a couple substitutions are made for the Cobras. Maybe one, in fact. Here's Tang. Tang with a shot, blocked. And there's Ashmore. Uses Pizzuto. Pizzuto to Florenka. Florenka, Pizzuto. Here's the turnover. Now Tang and Cumbre have got all sorts of momentum now. But big defensively there from Ross and Florenka. But what a finish that was on that volley by Reed Thompson. Not easy to do. It was also a beautiful, beautiful play, a beautiful build-up as well down the line, and then the flicker over the top, and Thompson finished. Now Ross takes off down the line. Now inside to Ryan, who loses his boots, and they will stop play for that. And his soul gone as well. He looks like he might come off now for a quick rest to sort all that out as Zephyr McPherson comes on. Pizzuto to Florenka. Back to Pizzuto. Defended by Garner. Pizzuto loses it. This is a chance for Hayes. Big block there by Ross. And there's a block by Hayes. But timeout now called by the Cobras, who it looks like John Goodlich has seen that they need to reset, get back into this game, as a few mistakes have led to their lead going. We'll be back with you in about 45 seconds, so don't go anywhere.
Semponia, what a save that is! Unbelievable.
And we are back from that timeout called by the Cobras, and how quickly momentum can shift in a game of futsal. The Cobras had led pretty much all game from about the 5-minute mark into that first half, and within the space of about a minute, Cumbre go back to back, straight past Ashmore to give themselves a lead. And here is Pizzuto, Florenka, Pizzuto, now Ross. Gets it through, McPherson does well, and the foul will be called. Foul called on Cruz, and that is 3 fouls now for Cumbre, and he did well there, McPherson. And just a bit of discussion going on now. Just under 12 minutes remaining in this game. Cumbre currently now on 3 fouls, and the Cobras still yet to trouble the foul counters for the second half. And in the end, it looks like it's been potentially reversed. The foul was given, and after a discussion, the foul has been turned around. We just get ready to recommence proceedings here. Just waiting to see what the decision is, as referee China Campos is having a discussion with Ross and Garner. Looks like it might be overturned, that foul that was called. And there it is. It will be a Cumbre ball. And it'll be Tyler Garner. In fact, it will be recommenced. And there's a nice show of sportsmanship. It'll be a Cobras ball. McPherson loses it. Garner. And that goes into touch. Florenka. Ross, and cleared by Gunn. I believe what may have happened there was the foul. The whistle did go in the end with no foul being called. The Cobras would have likely been on possession, and Tyler Garner then giving the Cobras back possession, as that would have been what the case would have been if no foul was called and that was overturned. So now Tang to bring this back into play. Uses Garner. Cruz to Garner. Defended by McPherson, who is beat. Now Garner's got some space. Hayes just over the head there of Tang. And it'll be brought back in by Ross. He has Pizzuto. Now Florenka, nice little move, can he keep it in? He can't, and that's another foul. So that will be the third foul. So just as that third foul a moment ago was overturned, this one won't be. And that's 3 fouls for the Cobras. And very fortunate, I believe, for Florenka, because that wasn't going to stay in play, I don't think anyway. Looked like it was about to go out, and he went down and the foul was called. There's a long ball from Ross. Chance for hard, just out of his reach. And Blauberg is there. Tang, long ball, and that sails over the head of everyone. And Pizzuto to bring it back in. He goes long, but that one's wide. And Blauberg now to reset for Cumbre. Long ball just over the head of everyone. Ross and Charlie Garnham were contending there. Pizzuto cuts it through the middle. That's a good ball, finding Hard. Back to Pizzuto. Now they've got space, the Cobras. And he goes to Hard, who just manages to control it. Now he goes down. And it will be a Cobras ball, no foul called. Cumbre wanted the push to be called on Hard. A bit of contact was made, not a lot, but Cumbre were definitely after it. Now, probably could have been controlled there by Hard, but he thought that Ross was going to be just to his left, but he hadn't got there quite yet. As now Tyler Garner out to Blauberg. Garner. And they steady play down now, Cumbre. And that one there, not controlled by Cruz and disappointed in himself. Just straight under his foot. Ross, good ball, bit of a no-look ball there. Finding Hard, but Cruz makes up for it. And big tackle in there. Not winning possession for his team. but at the very least stopping an attack from hard. And here's Ross, and that one almost hit the roof. So never really looked a chance there from Luke Ross. But well under it. Here's Garner, Thompson, long ball. Pizzuto with the interception, but that's dangerous now because Cumbre are there. Here's Christie. Out wide, Thompson's got all sorts of space. Nolan gets back though. Nolan's still there and he'll let that one go out. Or it might have been kept in the end by Thompson, did well. But the Cobras retake. Pizzuto, dangerous. And it'll be a Cobras ball. Ross. Long high ball, Hard wasn't there and probably could have been controlled there by Garner, but it looks like he, in the end, cleared it. Not the worst result though. Took the safe option. The Pizzuto comes off for a rest as Florenka comes on. Here's Ross. Florenka, nice cutting board on Reed Thompson. Still going Florenka, beats 3 defenders. Garner there. And you can see Tyler Garner just having a word with Reed Thompson, just trying to get him to settle and not dive in and give that space. That on that occasion was to Florenka. Here's Hard. Hard still going. And Blauberg will clear. And it looks like Dexter Hard will come off for a rest after that opportunity, and Pizzuto straight back on. Spent all of about 25 seconds off. There's Ross, long ball. Ryan out to Pizzuto. Pizzuto through the middle, back to Ross. Can he get that one through? Almost to Pizzuto, but Christie's there. And Pizzuto gets back on defense. Christie will reset. Goes through the middle to Thompson. Thompson to Christie, back to Thompson. Might have lost it. There's Ryan. Inboard to Nolan. Couldn't get that through. And Ross back onto it. Pizzuto down the line. Garner. Through the middle, finds Garnham. Now Thompson. As I just noticed there is a soul on the court. Will, I assume, be stopped very soon. Tyler Garner approaching where that... It might have been a shin guard, in fact. Here's Garner. Thompson. Still going now. Garner. Cumbre still moving the ball well. Thompson, Garner, back to the line. Gets it through to Garnham. Garnham's got a chance here. Big save by Ashmore. And that will be called just to go and grab that shin guard. Shin pad grabbed, and Cumbre got the shot off in the end, but big save with that right hand of Jaden Ashmore. The Cobras looking to try and equalise, but before they can do that, they need to thwart off this attack for Cumbre. And Cumbre, if they can get a 3-1 lead here, they'll have a nice buffer and they'll be feeling quite confident. And that one gets through, and somehow Garnham was there, but somehow he couldn't find the back of the net. Could have very easily bounced in that direction, and Cumbre would be 2 goals ahead of the Cobras. As now Garnham will bring it back in. Garnham, Christie, chance, but wide right. Wide left, in fact. Ashmore was happy to leave that one and let that go to his right. Long ball. It's a good one. It gets to McPherson and off him in the end. I think Tang did well, probably got some sort of contact on that, but McPherson couldn't control it. Garnham now. Tang, Christie. Great ball, finding Hayes, Pizzuto there, and wins the ball for the Cobras. Here's Ross, Florenka, Pizzuto, and that's going to go straight out into the touch. It'll be Will Hayes to take. It'll be yes, it will be a Cumbre ball, in fact. And it'll be, yes, it will be Will Hayes taking it from the sideline. The Cobras playing a bit of high pressure here, trying to stop that possession game. 7 minutes remaining in this game. High ball by Tang, hitting the roof. And it'll be Pizzuto's ball. Ross, back to Pizzuto, through to McPherson. That was a good ball. McPherson on his right, and almost, he had an opening but couldn't quite get any boot to it in the end. There's Garnham, just out of his reach, couldn't control it. It was a good ball though by Blauberg, but just a tad too much on it. Ross, through the middle, out to Pizzuto, and just behind him, and he couldn't get to it. And now Cumbre pressing, looking for that third goal. Hayes, nice little move through, almost to Garnham. Now Ross on the counter, has Pizzuto, that ball just couldn't get to him. The right idea, but probably not enough on it, and allowed the Cumbre defence to get back. Nolan, Florenka, dangerously defended by Garnham. Tries to take him down the line. He'll reset, here's Pizzuto. High ball, that's dangerous as well. Christie, still going Luke Christie, still going Christie, and almost found Hayes at that back post, but well done. Jaden Ashmore getting to that one, but what a run down that far right flank by Christie. In the end, getting the ball to a dangerous spot. And very, very fortunate there, the Cobras. Here is Tang. Tang to Hayes. Hayes down the line. Nolan there, and he puts it dangerously through the middle. That could have very easily ended up with Garnham, but manages to get through everyone. Pizzuto now. Nolan. Through the middle again. Not much on that. Pizzuto, though, gets there. McPherson controls it well. Resets. Florenka. Now Pizzuto. And the Cobras now getting a bit of their own possession. And Nolan down the line. We attempted it anyway, but Will Hayes up to the task. It looks like Zephyr McPherson will be coming off for a break in just a moment, I presume for Dexter Hard. And here is Tang through the middle. Still going Tang, but McPherson wins it brilliantly. Can he find Nolan? The Cobras will keep possession. Couldn't find Nolan. And almost there. That's dangerous. Cleared by Blauberg. Christie manages to control it brilliantly again. Delightful footwork. And the foul will be called on McPherson. And that will be his end. At least for now anyway. He will come off for a break after that foul call was given. And Luke Christie is the recipient. That is the first foul for the Cobras in this second half of futsal. Cumbre Sports Facility. Here's Hayes. Tang. Tang again. Pressure by Hard. Bit of a push and lost in the end. And that will be a Cobras ball, last off of Justin Tang. Pizzuto has Nolan waiting, or he could reset to Luke Ross for a big shot. Nolan with a shot, or almost found Hard in the end. And you have to wonder if the Cobras will look into bringing a fifth man out onto the court. Cumbre are very hard to do that against, though. They're so well drilled. And one turnover can really prove costly. Just a bit of discussion here between Ross and referee Tyner Campos. And there now will be brought back into play by Jaden Ashmore. Long ball. Here's Hard. Tang defending. Hard still going. He wants the handball. Not called. Hayes. Out to Christie. Ross comes flying in. Christie to Hayes. Tries to beat Pizzuto down the line. He does. Big shot. Ashmore, still a chance for Cumbre, and Hayes just out of the reach of Charlie Garnham. What a chance that was for Cumbre, and McPherson didn't go off just before. He's actually gone off now. And it'll be Flynn Nolan coming on for the Cobras. Long ball by Ross, turned over. Here is Tang. Hayes. Now Garnham out to Christie. Uses Hayes. Good ball inside. Finding Garnham, defended by Hard. Chance still, then it'll be finished. And it is! 3-1 lead. And Cumbre, through Will Hayes, take the 3-1 lead. There was a save there, but on the follow-up, Cumbre go up by 2 goals here. And it is going to be a long way back now for the West Coast Cobras. Will that be enough for Cumbre to get 3 points here tonight? And there is the 5th man brought in, Marco Florenka, given the responsibility. And the Cobras are now in trouble. Here's a long ball by Ross, and that'll go out. Garnham receives from Tang, now back to Tang. Long ball, it's a brilliant ball. It stays in, Will Hayes again, and no one to receive. But what a ball that was. I believe it was Justin Tang finding Will Hayes and managing to just keep it in bounds. Long ball there, Ross turns it over. No keeper in the play here. Ross will let that go, but it'll be pounced on by Garnham. It'll be a corner, and now it looks like Marco Florenka will come off. Ashmore will get there. And it'll be Justin Tang to take the corner. Here's Garnham. All the way back to Garner. Press put on by Pizzuto. Pizzuto's still there. And he does well defensively. And Cumbre, we need a reset. Justin Tang, Garner, long ball. Finds Garnham, Pizzuto gets to it, gets the interception. Now Ryan, Hard, takes it down the line and loses it. It'll be a Cumbre ball. Long ball by Garner. This should be finished. And somehow just wide left from Garnham. But what a ball and what a chance that goes begging. But Cumbre, I'm sure they won't be too concerned. They still have a 2-goal lead here. And the Cobras do have some work to do if they want to get back into the game. Long ball by Florenka, finding Lockie Ryan, and great defense by Tang. It'll be a Cobras ball though. Here's Hard in the middle. Out wide, great ball finding Ryan. Ryan now through to Florenka, and there's all sorts of space for Pizzuto here. And they'll use him. Cuts it through the middle, still going Florenka. No foul called. And it will be Dexter Hard to bring it in from touch. Ball and the right option, but not the execution. Couldn't find Florenka. And Cumbre now, as every second that does tick by, is a second that the Cobras are losing, a chance to equalise and potentially at least just get that second goal. There's a shot by Hard, on target, but Tang there. As I mentioned, the Cobras really playing with some urgency now. They need that next goal if they are to be a chance in this game. And here's Pizzuto, got all sorts of space. He gets it through Florenka, and Blauberg there. Tried to find Ryan there, did Florenka, but Rain Blauberg, solid as a rock in goals this second half, has not let anything get by him. Ross, Florenka tried the back roll to find Ryan. Florenka does well to win it back. And now Ross, through, almost. Ryan was there to be, looks like Ryan's wanting a Cobras ball, and he will get it. There's a chance, but Hayes there. No player in goals. That'll be finished. Charlie Garnham, and that might do it for Cumbre. Just under 3 minutes to go, and it's looking like it's going to be a Cambio Cumbre victory here tonight. And the Cumbre and the Cobras have been competitive. They've been strong all game, but it is looking like Cumbre are going to be too strong. Now Pizzuto. Ross finds Pizzuto, still on it, and that'll just be cleared. A 3-goal deficit for the Cobras, and Cumbre will be very, very happy to let some time run off the clock and try to possess this ball. Here's Hayes to bring it back in from around middle of the court. Garnham, Hayes, Blauberg, long ball. Ryan gets there and wins it brilliantly. Ashmore through to Hard. Hard under a bit of pressure. Ross back to Hard. Now he could have a shot, and that one was almost in between a shot and a pass. That shot wide there by Blauberg. Still the 4-1 lead for Cumbre. Just over 2 minutes to go. Florenka, Ryan, defended by Garner. Uses Ross. Now Hard. Florenka back to Ross. Florenka again and Ross combining. Hard. And Cumbre just putting so much pressure on. And the Cobras are struggling to deal with it. And this might be another goal for Cumbre. It will be almost, somehow not. And there it is. On the follow-up, Will Hayes puts it in again. And there's the 4-goal lead. And Will Hayes has been so instrumental in this second half. And it is blowing out now, this lead for Cumbre in what was such a tight game, but as so often does happen when the 5th man is brought out, the margin seems to extend if goals aren't converted by the team bringing out the 5th man. Great ball by Pizzuto. Here's Florenka, cut in board, and a shot, and almost, but Blauberg there again. Blauberg there again. He's been there all half. And from his perspective, it's been a clean sheet. Minute and a half remaining. It'll be a Cumbre ball by the looks of it after a bit of discussion. It might in fact be a Cobra. It will in fact be a Cobra's ball. It'll be Luke Ross to take. Which direction will he go? It's obviously looking like the game is beyond the Cobras now, but sure they won't stop fighting. Here's Florenka. Almost through. Is through now, and Blauberg there. And Florenka will cop a yellow, and I'm sure he won't be too disappointed with that. Obviously stopping that shot by Blauberg in the open net. Here's Garner. Long ball. Ryan onto it. Too heavy on the touch. Garner to Thompson. Thompson now can cut it to the middle. Garner back to Garner. Defended by Ross. And he will just take all the time he needs to take off the clock. Garner. Cruz. Long ball will go over everybody and into touch. And it'll be taken here by Dexter Hard. Hard. Pizzuto, long ball. Good one, finding Florenka, and that's going to be in between Pizzuto and behind Ross. And what a performance this has been by Cumbre. They were down at the half. The timeout is called. But Cumbre were down at the half, and they've managed to work their way back into this game. Got the equaliser, took the 3-goal to 1 lead, and then a couple 5th man goals. And it's been a great performance against the quality Cobras outfit. We'll be back in just a moment as this timeout has been called. back from the timeout. Charlie Garnham, only 35 seconds to go in this game. It's going to be a great Cumbre victory, and they will further stamp themselves as the team to beat in this competition. Garnham inside. Here's Tang, and they're playing a bit of a fifth man now, Cumbre themselves, trying a few things out now in this final 16 seconds that are left. Tang, Christie, they move it around. Will they have a chance to make it 6? Garner now takes off, 4 seconds to go. Gets it to Christie. Here's a chance for Luke Christie. Cuts it in board and almost got that goal in his return game. The block by Hard, and that will do us here at Cumbre Sports Facility in Port Kennedy. It was a great game for probably about 35 minutes, and then the fifth man was brought out, and Cumbre really took advantage, playing that high press on that fifth man and punishing the Cobras. And Cumbre will continue their march towards potentially another minor premiership in this league, and the Cobras will be back to the drawing board, and we will be back with both teams performing next week. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next week.